Hey guys, welcome back for another episode. Okay, so today we're gonna be doing the updates quickly on the 3 to 5, both 3 to 5 ISs, right? One is an EVO1, the other one is an EVO2. So this is basically your update after blasting, and I think this is a good example to do on the vehicles, right? Because one was a car that I still captioned how clean is it basically, and the other one we know how. Sorry, this caption here should be how clean is the body. This caption should be how bad is it. And I think the reason I'm choosing to do them both together is that we can actually see and compare these bodies up front, right? And because there's certain things that I want to show you on the bad car, and I'm calling it a bad car that will become a good car, but I'm going to show you certain things on the bad car as to what it's supposed to be like from factory. So let's start off with which one? Okay, let's go back to the red car. Let's go back to the EVO1. So to recap on this car here quickly, right? This here is the this car was turbocharged before, so I called it the Turbo IS, the red EVO1 with a gold wheel. Was turbocharged before. We know it's a clean car, and it's actually a coastal car. So I believe it was bought in Joburg and then taken to the coast, and it's been at the coast for almost. Sorry. Sorry, the compressors automatically release. It's been at the coast for almost 2 decades, basically. But having it been there for 2 decades, right, this is actually a very good car. So it means that it's been stored well, it's been looked after, it's been maintained. However, we have found a couple of issues now after blasting. And this is the sole purpose of sandblasting. So the beauty part about us doing it in-house now is exactly what you're going to see here now, right? Is that before, if we had to send the car out for blasting, I would have had to have blasted every single part of the car, obviously to maximize the costings on transport going up and down, the risks of the cars going up and down. And obviously when you pay for blasting, you're paying for a whole car, so you can't pay half a car or whatever it is. Now that we're blasting in-house, we're able to blast certain sections that we're going to work with, still leave the original paint and e-coats in there, right? Work on the areas that we would like to work on, and then afterwards do a final blast, and that's now reveal everything that we want to see on the inside, of which we don't think there's an issue, right? So again, this guy is not it's never been built up, it's been resprayed, but it's never been rebuilt for me to expect issues in the back areas and so on like that. We've opened up areas, or we've blasted out areas and opened up areas that we can see, firstly, that we know has a history of, that we know that has a history of issues, and we've opened up areas that we could foresee issues. The areas that we haven't opened up as yet is areas that we don't think we're going to see any issues. Look, we can be surprised afterwards, but for now, I don't think we're going to see any issues, so we've left it there. This here helps us basically with management of flash rusting, because flash rusting in corners and that it becomes an issue. So it's just basically to manage the restoration while we're in progress, and then afterwards we'll do a final clean down of it. So let's go through this vehicle quickly, right? When we stripped the car out, we saw that the floorboards were quite good on this vehicle. For some reason, I'm seeing that the driver's side floorboard is actually very intact and very good, right? There has been some sort of minor repairs, but nothing major. But we're starting to find panels, and this is what the blasting does. Unfortunately, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, the bad thing is that it exposes the hole. The good thing is that it blasts every weak spot out of it, so you can actually see the depth of how far the rust is creeping to, right? So this is now this area. So we're gonna have a small couple of areas like that, and that's repair work. But if you go look at, it's the first time I'm seeing a car by the pedal box area. If you have a look here, normally we're finding a lot of rust on the vehicles, right? And this guy actually doesn't have, it's fairly good. Now let's go back here quickly. So in my first video, before we blasted, here's more rust coming up here. So we're going to pull this mat off here, right? And we're going to see what's hiding underneath, what's lurking under this guy. So there is rust here. So there is rust on the floorboard, but it's nothing major, right? It's obviously this is workable compared to the other crap that we see. What was I saying? So in the chassis leg, when I spoke in the previous video on this vehicle, I spoke about the chassis legs and how we couldn't see into them, right? And now we can actually see that this here is a good chassis leg on here. There is no rust in here. So we're going to have to come and basically vacuum all the glass out. And I'm going to have to treat this here on the inside for future protection, basically. Okay, move to the front of the car, right? So we've started seeing things on this side here. And I found the crumble zones. Remember this chassis moved a little bit. But we'll talk about that now. Let's move to the front of the vehicle where we are starting to spot some things. So this is panel rust on this side here. This is really small, but the area that the rust is really a crappy place. So I'm going to inspect further if I can get to the back here and see how far it is. But if you look at where your metal is here, look, I don't know if you're going to be able to give me a... So I can see by eye how far the metal is actually eaten in. Let me take my hand away, it's focusing on my hand. How far the metal is actually eaten in here compared to our surface. Right? We're going to inspect it. Then we've got rust up here again. You can see we've got rust on the window pane here, right? So we've got rust here and we've got rust here. Even though this here, your rubber sits over here, right? This is actually an intricate angle to work in. And then Lush, while you're there, just peep here. I saw something here. There's been a repair done here before, and there's rust actually on your soles here. So here. We're catching this rust here basically before it got worse. So when we asked that question and we said, why do we have to restore this car? This is one of the reasons why we have to tackle it, right? And unfortunately, it's almost like a maintenance restoration, if I can call it that, and not a build up or repair somebody else's scrap restoration. So there's a difference. Then other area of rust is here. Something happened on this here. Then we'll take the fender off and inspect further, right? But you can see here, this here looks like a repair. This here looks like old welding here. Because this is supposed to get a bit of stitching and a brace. And you can see that it's starting to eat up here. So I don't know if this is a just natural rust, or if this is a repair that's actually gone wrong. So repair on this side here. Then coming over to the engine bay, you can see towards this area here, we have actually got a clean firewall for a change, right? So I've asked them not to clean up too much as yet. This is the original seam sealers over there. Leave that in place for now, because we've exposed what we need to see, basically, right? Once we do our metal prep before our primers, then we can come in and start cleaning up further and digging in. Not so much digging in, it's basically just cleaning up further. There's another bad rust spot here. So if you can come over to see there under the fuse box there on the joint between the firewall, between the two firewalls, between your left hand side firewall and your right hand side firewall. Okay, let me go point it out here. I don't think you're seeing it on camera there. So here, there's actually a split. Now this split here, I'm gonna take my hand away now. This split here looks like the split of when the chassis moved. This split, this here is actually the rust from there. So we're gonna have to do a repair in there, and I've done that before on two cars, and the crappy part is the area that you're working in there. So it's a small area, it's a small patch, but it's very crappy. Now coming back to the chassis legs quickly. So we've measured the car out, right? So we've done an x-axis or an x-axis measurement of this height and the bottom height. We haven't gone right through the car. The roof I don't really need to, but obviously going forward, when we start lining up or when we start doing a check on the chassis machine, we will get it done there. I'll talk to you about that car very briefly now as well on the chassis machine, and it's a bit of a corpse here. So okay, so this area is a bit crappy. Then we're going to move over to rust that we found. Basically, it's small rust areas, right? But it's all in the shitters of places, basically. There's no other way to say it. So we've got rust. I showed you here again. So this is a small plate in here, but again, to try and get this here cut out, to get into the corner here and try and get it cut out and neatened up and welded nicely, welded neatly actually, and getting your weld ground down. That's the issue that we have there, but it's not anything that's not doable. So if I remember correctly, it's the rust here, the rust there. Okay, that's all that we can see, right? I can see that the chassis is actually split here a little bit by the seams there. So It's a little bit confusing on this vehicle, but I think this is what has happened. This is what we assuming, right? Or theory is that the car was, we know that the car hit a guardrail on the highway and they've pulled the car. So what they've done is your cross member was still in line. So I'm actually going to put another cross member on, engine cross member, to see that. I'm going to use a straight one to see, or one that I know that is straight, to see that the holes are still in place, right? But then obviously we can pick up the measurements of it. But just a quick way to do it is put a cross member on just to see which holes are giving us a misidentification, if I can call it that. Because what the guys tend to do is they leave the engine and gearbox in place and they'll pull on your chassis. And when you start pulling in that sense there, it starts pulling on the cross member. So now you think everything is in place, right? Because everything lines up, it matches up. But your cross member still skew because it's your cross member is now matching your holes at the bottom of the chassis. So I'm going to use a straight one, put it at the bottom of the chassis, bolt it into its original places and see first, for example, that's just to see if the holes are lining up. That's a quick way of just telling us, listen here, we're out here, or basically guiding us to where we need to go. But I can see by eye, I can see that the chassis is actually coming out this way here. It comes back out to the right hand side of the car and then comes back all the way out to the left. So look, stand in front of the chassis, right, and just see this line here. I don't know if you're going to get it on camera. You can see it? Yeah. Right, so I can actually see what the chassis is doing. But however, even though the chassis is skew, right, all your measurements, all your standard measurements on this axis here and at your bottom axis so far, measures out. So the guys they've done a repair on it. They've pulled where they needed to pull to line up and do whatever they got to do, but they haven't repaired the chassis in such. So we know this guy's got to go onto the chassis machine, right? Now, the other area that I found, we know that the guy hit the guardrail, and I don't know exactly how far they moved on before. Okay, before I move here. Let me just finish up with the last issues. So if you come into the engine bay quickly. Right, let me sit here. So we've got, you can see the panels again forming all over here. I'll move my hand now. So we've got panels here all the way through, and I guarantee you that we're going to have holes underneath here. So it's obviously the extent of the holes are not as big as the rest of the cars, right? But the fact is there is rust there that needs to be either removed, repaired, or you can't really repair rust, but removed and repaired. So we've got the panels here. Then this is what we've seen when we stripped the car on my previous video, and we've seen this here. We just didn't know to what extent it is. So we've definitely got rust over this area. What I can tell you is that we're going to find rust. If rust is here, we're going to find it around here. This area looks kind of decent, but we are going to remove this matting. We started moving it up here already. So this is what you see here now is the E-coat on the car. And then we're going to get the seal panel repaired as well. You can actually see the rust that I was talking about from the engine bay on the corner. You can actually see it forming here. Now, when I showed it to you from the front, you basically saw a 90-degree angle with two panels meeting each other, right? This is still a straight panel. So your front left firewall mates, here's the seams here, here's the spot welds here. It mates to the rear firewall of the car, basically here. This is how bad, not how bad, this is how intricate. You know, I've got mosquitoes in the shop, right? And there's one troubling me now already, and they're biting us. No, where are they coming from? So here's the seam over here. Anyway, we'll get to that. Rust spot there. We've tackled the rust in that. We haven't really tackled in the back. I think Paul did see for me. He did mention that he saw something here. Or was it the other car that he saw something in? Okay, so no, we haven't seen anything in here. So we're still going to come and blast out here and identify anything else from this side here. Now, I was saying that we know that the guy hit the guardrail. So, I don't know where the skin came in from. So, we'll just have to investigate this chassis further. Right? So, remember your window rubber goes over here, so you can't really see if this is really pulled back. And it's not an area that, guys, if you guys know what we can use for mosquitoes in the shop, please drop me a comment and let me know if you have a solution for us. I'm standing here doing a video and I got mosquitoes biting me, basically eating me alive. Okay, so we know that the guy hit the guardrail. We don't know it to what extent, but I know it was on the back left somewhere, right? and we saw some sort of welding when we still stripped the car, but we couldn't really get into it. After blasting, we can actually identify and see exactly where they've cut through. So I don't know what this cut is here for. I don't know if the accident started from here, but this cut here, and I see there's a whole lot of body filler here. So Paul left this body filler on from here. So you can actually, this body filler will actually, or with him leaving the body filler on the clips, is actually a guide of how far this panel is actually going in, right? And this is why my client complained about lining up on the left hand side. I think we found lining up issue on there. So obviously, whatever you do here is going to affect here, there, and so on like that. So before you move there, Lush, I think let's let's do this here. So look at the size look at the thickness of the body filler here. And it's actually a crappy area to do an extensive repair on it. So I might, because I've got to do a repair now. All this is going to be repaired, right? So it looks like they've closed the old holes, and I don't know. And I would like to pull this panel off and replace this panel, because if I pull this panel off and replace the panel, that means that I sort out the body filler issues from basically from the seam to seam. I get rid of this weld here, and I think we're going to have to do that on here because it's not flowing through. This cut is not flowing all the way into the car. It is actually flowing in here, but this is still right here. Right? But it's not a cut and joint. There's no other joints anywhere else. It's just a repair here. Okay, so we're going to get to first section of the car. We're going to get to how we're going to repair it. Then we move over to this fender. So I can see welding on the inside. That's what we picked up before. But look at how they cut all the way basically through this fender. So now we're going to make a decision on this vehicle to say that the rest of the car is good. Do we pull this panel off? Take this panel off properly. And remember what I'm saying here is that no matter how much you try and take it off properly, right, you're still going to disturb certain areas. It's the nature of the game. So in certain cars, we want to assess how bad the car is, and then we'll disturb those areas. But this car is, like I said, it's the other way around. So the rest of the areas are all good. Do we really want to disturb your spot welds and seams all the way else? Okay, we're going to have to work with it. And we're also going to try and distinguish what our fix is going to be over here. So I don't have a solution as yet on how we're going to do it. We'll get it done, but how we're going to do it is the question. Then the next repair is going to be here, which shouldn't be too hard, but again, it's a tricky area. It's a corner area to get into, right? And I really don't want to repair it again with body filler on here. So it's not that the repair is bad. It's just to neaten up this area. It's just to neaten up this area and pull the floorboard down, get the floorboard looking nice and straight on both sides of the car. Okay, so we've got this car basically seen to now, right? Let's move on to, so we started off with a good car, the okay car. Okay, so maybe this is a good guide here. Look at this fender. Right? This is what the fender is supposed to look like, and this is what this car's fender looks like all the way from. It's actually all the way from here, because there's rust everywhere, there's repairs everywhere. So it's basically the whole fender all the way to the back. Okay, so this is the silver IS that has been built up, restored, whatever they want to call it. And we're going to correct this car. Right, this guy's in for a year basically. So I think we've done the video on this car of when we started blasting. Remember, this was the first car that we blasted here. And I started exposing where our issues are on this vehicle and so on, like that, how much of body filler. You can see we still left some areas, but now we started removing all the areas that are left as a guide to show you how much of body filler is on this vehicle. So let's just go quickly with how this car looks, right, and what our fix is supposed to be on here, and then I'm actually going to show you a 333 now. So I'm going to show you the black 333 that was supposedly also done. The car wasn't too, it's actually not too bad. The chassis is also skew on that car. I'm jumping between cars. Let me just finish that black 333 quickly. The chassis is skew on the car. That we found a lot of body filler on the rear fenders. We actually pulled them. I want to show you that. I really need to show you guys that. Pull that straight. So we're going to now get that car moved over basically to the chassis leg. Just do a quick pull, just to line up. And that car is actually ready for body work. Now, this car here is a little bit different. So we've got an understanding of what we're going to do on the red car. We need to get an understanding of what we're actually doing on this vehicle and how we're doing it and the processes that's going to follow from here. So, yesterday Atul and I sat quickly, right, and we started going through this vehicle. And I think, let me take you through the vehicle quickly because we're exposed. So, and I'm going to take you through this vehicle, and from there you can understand why we're going to follow this procedure, right? There's actually a lot of work to be done on this vehicle. So, I've showed you guys the fenders. We know the back fenders are a problem. I've shown you guys when we blasted the pillars, I've shown you where the issue is on those pillars, how it's been welded before, right? As to, and this is I should have actually had the Japan car standing here next to it, because you've seen us cut basically a fender off and put a fender back on, and I emphasized on getting the lineup straight here, where we don't have to use a whole lot of body filler. I've emphasized on lining up on the B panel, the B pillar, sorry, right? Because here is your original seam. This is how each pillar looks. So if without doing any thorough measurements, because we actually want to get on the chassis machine first and start measuring out that way there. Without doing any thorough measurements, right, we can actually see that the vehicle is out. You can actually see that the roof is actually sitting a little bit more forward. If you look at, Lush, I needed to stand this idea, right, and you actually need to get the contour of this pillar for me. You'll actually see the pillars coming up, and they actually fought the pillar coming back down. You understand? To align this roof in. So I don't know if when they cut the roof off, did the car bow a little bit? Did the car warp a little bit? And when they put the roof on, it looks like it. That's actually maybe possible, because this side is coming in, and your A pillar is also it looks like it's coming in, and it looks like when they started putting your roof on, remember, this becomes your strong point now, right? Because your structure is still there. Your car becomes your weak point because your car starts bowing. Also, if it was a complete car, what they had it standing on, how it was standing, if it was standing on its trestles, front and back, the car is definitely going to bow in the center. I think the car bowed. They put the roof on and they started fighting the pillars to get the roof on. Once they got the roof on, they were happy, but they didn't do their measurements. They didn't do any cross measurements on it, and they didn't get their lining up. So what happened was they started painting they painted the car, they done whatever they had to do, put the doors on, and that's where the fight started. That's where the Sikaflex came in. That's where all of those issues came in. So there's so much of work to be done on this car that I even forgot where I started. Bottom line is the fenders are a problem, right? We need to take that out. I think we're going to have to remove both fenders. We're going to work with both fenders on the bench like how we done with the Japan car. Get them lined up so we can get to these areas. Remember, we don't just have a dent here and a dent at the back. This whole panel is dented. This one is not too bad. This one is from here to the back. That side is all the way from the door to the back. So we rather work with the fenders, and I'm actually going to try and build almost like a wooden buck, just to get our shape out, because that fender is quite bad. Pull that up. So before I move into the engine bay quickly, pull this up, then it's going to allow us to get to the backboard properly as well. Right? So it'll give us access to get to the backboard properly. Pull this backboard out. We're going to throw this backboard out. I'm not even going to attempt repairing it, and I'm going to hunt another backboard down for this car, or parcel shelf for the car. Then coming back to your C pillar quickly, right? How are we going to do your C pillar? Is we're going to take it off at the seam. So we're not gonna cut off here. We're gonna take it off at the seam. But when the rear fender is off, we're actually gonna recut this fender over here. I'm gonna have to look for a donor fender from our cut to the seam, have it joined on properly so I can get our gapping right here. Have it joined on properly, and then when it's time for refitment, or basically putting it back on, we're gonna try and line up. But while the fenders are off, we're then going to do our cross measurements because it's going to be easier for us to pull the car where we need to pull. Because it's going to be easier for us to pull where we need to pull. Right, and we're going to have to align the car with the fenders off and then put the fenders on afterwards, align and stitch again. Now, here's the biggest issue here, and I had a chat to compressors interrupting us again. So, I actually had a chat with the customer yesterday, right? And it's very hard for him to understand me. He is understanding me, but it's very hard for him to visualize what I'm trying to say. So, this video is actually going to see what I'm talking about here. So, we knew that there's a cut in the center of the car, right? We needed to blast the inside first, clean all of that sound deadening off. Clean all of that up and see how far the cut was on the inside. So, we know it's the front quarter section that's been cut. We know the whole roof has been replaced as well. Here's the cut line here on this here, right? You'll actually see where the panels are misaligning. It's actually showing us where the panels are misaligning. If you look at your contour here, look at your area here, you can actually see where they fought to panel beat the car and get the car lined up. So this panel is actually sitting a little bit more too far back, number one. When I say too far back, remember, sometimes it's not something that you can see by eye. Right, only measurements will give you that gap. So it's sitting too far back, and I think it's sitting too far over that side there because I can actually see the overlap. I can see the lap here. When we get the new tunnel in, I'm actually going to show you what the tunnel is supposed to look like. We're supposed to have a little bit of a hump there, but this hump is not consistent all the way through. So we actually need to do a measurement of the tunnel on the gearbox side to see what this tunnel is measuring at and what the normal car measures at, and I guarantee you that this tunnel is smaller. So by the tunnel being smaller, they had to basically gap this car wherever they could and try and basically get it together. So now how are we going to go forward and repair it? You can see we're starting with rust on this floor already, right? So like the red car, it's holes everywhere at this point in time. We can see there is rust, no matter how we look at it. There is rust starting from here already. So I know that we're going to find rust in the legs. But on this specific vehicle, we're going to leave the legs in place. We're going to leave the legs in place. And we are going to remove the floor. So I'm going to be hunting down a donor floor. For the guys watching the videos, if you guys know of any floors available, any shells available where we got good rust. Someone did mention to me that they got a two-door, but the car is rusted. Guys, if you're going to call me, give me some, I need something clean, right? I need a car with the whole floor. So we're going to, my plan is remove the whole floor. Get it. Let's replace the floor. Then once the floor is replaced, obviously the back fenders are off, but I don't have to worry about the car bowing in because we've still got our internal structure in the car, right? Once the floor is put back in, I'm going to start working on this sill and this sill. So I'm going to do a sill replacement on it as well. While the floor is out, Atul is then going to go and measure the car up, right? He's going to give us basically our x-axis measurement on the interior and our lining up, our lining measurement up on the front of the car as well. So there's multiple repairs on this vehicle. It's not one repair. We might go back and change the process as well while we start with it, while we're busy with it. Here's a joint here. I'm just looking here. Here's a joint here. Here's a joint here. Here's a joint here. There's 3 joints on one pillar. Yeah, look here. Here's one joint here. Here's one joint here and one joint here. So whoever worked on this car really got up to cuck. There's another joint here also. See, you'll actually see how this. See how this guy's joint. Look here. Here's another joint over here. I don't know if this joint. It's flowing. I don't know. I'm not gonna go in even. So you can actually see here we've exposed how this guy's cut here in the center. So I think they left the cradle and they put a new cradle. I'm not even going to go and try and figure out what the hell they done, honestly. So we can see the joint mark there. I don't know where exactly they joined up here in the front. I think they've taken the cradle on and joined the section off like it. I don't know what this extra joint is here for. And they've pulled the joint basically across. So I might even have to go and replace this panel here. Because you can see the joint started not repaired properly. It's actually starting to put through and rust through. already all the way through here. So look, unfortunately in my videos it looks like I'm dusting a car, and I'm not dusting a car. We won't be here if we don't see cars like this. What I am trying to do in my videos is I am trying to say, you know, a lot of people are saying this, there was only 1,500 ISs made or 500 ISs made, and now there's like 3,000 ISs running around. I agree with them. But these are not chopped up cars. These are not bulk cars. These are not ISs made to look like. These are all numbered vehicles that we have in here. The only vehicle that we have in here that wasn't a IS is the auction car, of which I've cleared up with you guys. And I've actually, from day one, I was honest to say, this is what this guy is. The rest of the cars are all ISs. They're all between shadow lines, OAF shadow lines, EVO1 shadow lines, or EVO2s, right? Or shadow lines, 086 shadow lines. My intention of these videos and doing what I'm doing and exposing what I'm exposing is to show you, listen here, this is, if this is number 112, for example, car number 112 went through its life for the past 25 years as a good car. It belonged to somebody else who spun the car, smashed the car. Maybe it was an accident that wasn't even caused by him. But this is where the car is now. This is what work the car needs. This is what work we're going to do on the vehicle to get it basically back to its original state. Like I've done, I've just put up a video now of a car on a rotisserie with it seam sealed, fabricated, and I'm going to picture that in now. The car was in that state. This is what we're doing to get this car basically back up to scratch. Do you understand? And there shouldn't be any value loss after that. It's still a numbered vehicle. It just means that the vehicle is strengthened. I'm going to look at, oh, there's the joint on the chassis. The vehicle is strengthened. It's done properly now. We don't have to worry about rust. We don't have to worry about anything else. Same thing like number 10 333. So it's not to say the car's going to be a cut and join, or the car's going to fall under a rebuild, or whatever it is. People can think what they want to do, what they want to think. Let's just move over here quickly. So here's number 10 333, right? The valence has got to change on this car. Right, the valence has got to change on this car here, or the cradle, sorry, not the valence. The top of the cradle looks okay, but this is all crumpled up at the bottom. And remember, the 333 radiator sits here. So if I get this wrong here, I'm going to have issues with the radiator coming. There's no tolerance at all. So we're going to make a decision, basically cut the radiator, the cradle out, get a new cradle in. I need to, while the cradle is out, pull the car straight so we can weld the cradle in its correct place, and then do another measurement up on it again. So why I'm saying pull the car straight is that we are 15 mils across. Shit, I can't remember if it's left or right, but we are 15 mils across either side. And you'll actually see the kink mark here. So if you look at the kink mark over here, same like the red car. You see the kink mark over here, and you see how it pulled, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it pulled that way there. It looks like it pulled to the left. And a tear here. So we've just got to repair this, the tear, and there is a kink mark on the left hand side. So it was knocked, maybe not very hard, but it was knocked at an angle. Okay, so this guy here, I haven't really prepped up for a video, right? We finished up with it yesterday. And you'll see the brown patches. The brown patches is not actually oxidization. It's actually a reaction. Not bare metal, water, air reaction. It's a reaction with our filler and the fluid that we use to clean the metal first. So we do get this here after a while, right? And then we start taking basically back down again, and we have to prep up and we have to clean this metal thoroughly before we can come up with our primers. So this is an example of a fender, right? We had a fender, I think we had body filler from here. You can actually see where we started repairing from here all the way until here, right? And if you look at this fender, we've actually got this fender quite straight. I would say about 95-98% straight. Right, you run your hand across here, the fender is quite straight. There was body filler in here. We've built the side up here. We've got it shaped out properly. And then from there, we can start fine tuning, right? So I'll go into more videos of that later on. We're still going to move over to the back of the car here. You can come and see it quickly. So let me show you the body filler here quickly. So I don't exactly know what the issue was here, right? It could have been a back bumper fender bender. But you can see the buildup of the body filler all over here, over here. So now you come and put your bumper on, and you've got uneven gaps all the way through. So we've got to come now, remove this body filler properly, get our measurements from here to here, right, and get our squaring out all the way through here. There was a repair done here before. We've got to repair this here and basically get our seam with brazing again. On the side here, you'll actually see the dent starting from here. So we'll have to pin and file and pull out on the side here. There's also a dent here. Small dent in here also. This fender is done as well. So you can see here, when I was talking about the reactions, this fender was actually done before that fender. But there's a chemical that we got to use basically on it. And you can see the reaction on that side there as well, the reaction here. But this is actually loose. Try and give me a nice line out here. Same story with this fender. Body filler from here. I can't remember if it was before the tank or after the tank. Body filler. Not, and it wasn't very thick. There was body filler, but not also too thick. But there was a couple of dents on here. And my guys managed to pull this out. And we spent basically 1.5 weeks on 2 fenders. But this is the outcome of it. So, showing you the silver car, right? And I'm shouting and performing, and it's irritating me that I'm seeing the body filler, I'm seeing the dents, I'm seeing how the car was repaired. We are making the effort to get to this level here. I believe that car could have gotten to another level, maybe not the same level, but they could have tried a bit harder to get rid of the body filler on there. So we're going to go through the same thing on that car there. It's going to be easier for us just to pull it off and work it out like this. So I'll make the decision just to say, you know what. But I think that car, because of this issue here on the pillar, it's supposed to look like this here. Not come in and come back out again and them fighting, lining up. I think because of this issue here, I'm just going to make a decision to say, let's pull both fenders on so I can do the repairs properly. On them, I can reseal, I can reprimer basically on the inside nicely, so we're not going to have the rust starting up all over again. So guys, on this guy here, we're actually going to, so I'm in the heart of the panel shop now, right? So you're going to see, look, it's a Saturday here as well. So these cars normally go back out. I'm going to start, this is the 0086 shadow line. Yes, it's not just a normal chrome bumper, it's a 325i 0086 shadow line that I'm going to build up for a friend of mine's. The shop has been closed, so we've just got a couple of cars out so I could do the video for today. That IS on the bench there, we've picked up major issues at the back. Front we managed to pull straight and line up nicely. The back is basically it's a video for another day. That's what it is. Alright, so we've pulled the front, we've got the front lined up nicely. We came to the back, and the back is basically your rear fender welded on wrong. So it's not about pulling the car. Anyway, guys, look, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Yeah, right? I think there's some more content that's still gonna come out. The Japan guy is done now. That's waiting for metal prep. The cabriolet is done. That I don't really want to do a video on them now because they look. We still gotta go and grind on welding and all of that, and start metal prepping them up, and it's gonna go for its last soda blast because it does have flash rusting on it. But those guys are done, so that's more content coming up. Bodywork is starting. We've got a new cycle starting on Monday. So bodywork, the guys are actually moving very well on it. They're doing very well on paint as well. We're starting to see the differences now on the different methods that we've tried, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about the two bodies, right? And about the 333, how it's coming out. I haven't really done a formal video on it, but let me know what you guys think so far. And also let me know on that fender. Throw a couple of ideas in. Let me know if we should, what do you think on that? Should we take that fender off on this red car like we're doing on the other cars, or should we just say, listen, let's leave it, let's repair it on there? And let me know what you guys think. Again, like, subscribe, share. I appreciate you guys with the comments. And yeah, we'll chat to you soon. Cheers, guys.